So it's an absolutely beautiful day today in Manchester. So it's 0 degrees, full sunshine, not a cloud in the sky, no rain, slight wind. Absolutely incredible. This morning I've been focusing on some stretch work, so I pay particular attention to flexing out the spine. So I'll lie on the floor and I'll move my left leg over my right leg and vice versa, and I just sort of connect to my body as best as I can do. I do some yoga movements, some cat curls, that type of thing. Nothing too complex. It's really just a case of releasing any knots or any tension that I've got in the body. And it's different every time, but your basic techniques will do that. But yeah, I'm very excited about today because when it's like this, it reminds me of when I started the pull-ups challenge in 2022. I remember going to the park in Altrincham and doing the pull-ups, and the bar was absolutely freezing. And it was the biggest pain point on the hands because there's literally no fat on the hands, no fat on my hands, and literally it was very, very painful, very uncomfortable. It took me about 75 to 100 pull-ups in to get to the point whereby my body temperature had increased, so I got warmer, and focusing on the cold hands wasn't something that was there. It almost became nothing. I had to put some kitchen roll on the bars, on the pull-ups bars, to stop with any frost or moisture coming through. But yeah, listen, some great experiences. I met some great people when I was training in the park. Obviously, when gyms were closed, coming out of the pandemic. So yeah, when it's like this, when it's fresh and sunny like this, I absolutely adore it. But I'm going to be training at the club today, so I'll be indoors. The plan is 500 pull-ups with the 2.5 kg weight, and I would like to reintroduce some gymnastic rings, dips. I've not done them in a long time, in ages. So I'm going to start slowly on that. It's going to be body weight focused. I'm going to go for the 5 reps max range. So I'm going to mirror that of the pull-ups, 5 reps max in the set. I'm not going to be tempted to add any weight to the body weight dips, the gymnastic rings dips. I really need to fire up the body, remind it that it can do the gymnastic rings dips, and see where we go from that point. But I want to cover off something with you today. I want to talk about visualization, because this is something that's featured a lot in the last couple of weeks. I've had lots of different conversations around this. So I'm going to give you an example now. If, for example, I had a twin, let's say there was another me, and I said, right, I'm going to help train you to do pull-ups. So let's get you embarking on an audacious pull-ups challenge. But my twin really did not want to embark on that challenge at all. Really didn't want to do it, so they really don't want to do it, but they'll go along with it anyway. But every day they were complaining. They said they didn't want to do it, and they're really not enjoying it. The chances of muscle memory and cognitive development, physical development, emotional development of my twin over time would be very, very poor. Because even though they're performing that exercise, they're doing it by not sinking into enjoyment. They don't want to do it, and they're constantly telling themselves that and leaning into that negative mindset. So it's going to be counterproductive. So for visualization techniques to work in that instance, if my twin said, do you know what, I really want to do the pull-ups, I don't want to embark on a pull-ups challenge like the one that you're doing, but I absolutely appreciate that it's going to take me time to get to this point, then for me, what I will do is I would say, okay, all you have to do is think to yourself, I want to do this. This is something I want to do. My expectations are that I don't know which way it's going to go, but I'm prepared to put in the effort, and I want to do this. And I know it'll take time, but I'm going to put that time in. That is going to be a better mindset to have, 100% a better mindset to have than saying, listen, you know what, I'm going to give it a go, but I really don't want to do it, but I'll just do it anyway type of thing. So that's featured a lot of the last couple of weeks. I've had people asking me about the mindset side of it. How do you cope with situations whereby you want to embark on a challenge, but you've never done that type of thing before, so it's new to you? And that's what I would say. I'd say be kind to yourself, remind yourself that you've not done this type of thing before, but that you do want to do it. And it will take your focus, your discipline, your attention to detail, and your commitment to get through that journey. But it won't happen overnight. But all you can do is keep the mind positive. Keep the mind positive, and that is a good starting point. And then hopefully over time you will sink into joy, and you will enjoy doing what you're doing. Okay, let's get to those pull-ups. Okay, let's get these mitts chalked up. So, left hand, right hand. Callus is starting to build quite nicely. This is how I use the chalk. As you know, I always like to get a nice nugget or a nice block of chalk. So I've got my little iceberg here. I chalk up around these parts. These are the main parts where I get the abrasion or the build-up. This is where the majority of the skin drag is, right here. As you can see, this is where it puckers up. So with gravity moving against, obviously you're going to get that pinch maneuver on the skin. So this is where you're going to get that skin drag. Here too, see these parts. That's pretty much it, to be honest, because I do the thumbs, I do the pronated grip, thumbs over. I don't do thumbs under, so I'm not gripping it like that. I'm gripping it like that. So there's not that much rotation. I keep a nice clean grip on the bar and hold it. I'm not rotating or moving around. So that's pretty much where I need to go with it. Every now and again, you might get some perspiration there, but that doesn't seem to be a major problem, to be honest with you. So same for the right hand. Get this chalked up. And you know what, these chalk blocks, they can last ages. In fact, this was a gift. This was a gift from Tom. So Tom gave me this, and I've had this now for a good maybe 6 months, something like that. It lasts ages. And then all I do once I've done it, just very gently there we go. Okay, let's get to the pull-ups. Okay, so the first pull-ups are always the most exciting, I suppose, because it's getting the block started. It's getting block one started. But I'm always the coldest in terms of my body isn't warmed up. My tendons and ligaments aren't as warmed up as they will be, of course. But I'll bring you on the first 5. So let's get into it. Okay. Feels good. Feels good to get off the block. So the first 5 in. So what I do in these moments right now is, for visualization purposes, I visualize what it's like to complete my first block, so my first 100. I can imagine what that feeling is like. I've been there before, so I keep that memory alive right now in this present moment, just while I'm taking the rest. And it feels good. And I remind myself that I'm going to get to that point, that first milestone, I'm going to celebrate it. But when I get up to the bar like this, It's one pull-up at a time. That is the focus. It's one pull-up at a time. I'm not going for 500 pull-ups. It's one pull-up 500 times, but right now it's one pull-up. Focus on the breath work. Feet together, hip tilt, and pull. And it's focusing on the breathing, on the breath work, keeping composed. I don't want to get that heart rate too high. The reason I don't want to get the heart rate too high is because my body has no idea that I'm doing pull-ups. It has no idea that I'm doing a pull-up challenge. If I get overexcited, if the heart rate starts to get too high, I'll pump out hormones that I don't need right now because I'm not going for that final stretch, that final push. I'm going for the distance. So I need to keep focused. Okay, so nice and controlled with the breathing. 5 reps max. Get that nice circular breathing in there. All circular breathing is breathing in for a period of time and mirroring that for the exhale. So if I'm breathing in for 5 seconds or 6 seconds or 7 seconds, then I mirror that breath. So I'll breathe out for the same amount of time. When I'm doing the pull-ups, I would probably say the breathing is maybe around about probably about 4 to 5 seconds, and then I do the circular breathing. But when I have a rest, when I've hit a block, for example, I can then focus on the 7 seconds, which is much longer. 7 seconds breathe in, 7 seconds exhale. There's a lot going on when I'm doing the pull-up. So I've got the hand placement where I need it to be. I'm locking in the hands. I've got the breath work. I've got the hip tilt. And I want to keep those either feet together, or if they are apart, I want to make sure that they're aligned. That one foot is not crossing over the other. One leg is not crossing over the other leg, because that is going to create a kink or a tilt in the spine. And I will feel that over time. So that's the reason why I either have my feet together, or if I've got the weight like today, I rest the weight in between my thighs, or depending on the size of the weight, on my thighs. But invariably the feet are very, very important. The legs very, very important. So many different component parts that go into the pull-up for me. It's getting that beard to the bar or the bed above the bar. So right now I can start to feel that my body is starting to warm up. It'll normally kick in probably more like 75 to 100 pull-ups, to be honest with you, but right now I can tell that I've just done the 20 pull-ups with yourself. It feels good. Elbows starting to ease up. It's like that WD-40 effect, so everything feels a bit more fluid. It feels good. When visualizing it's important that the things that I'm visualizing make sense to me, because they are essentially memories. They are memories that I'm holding in my mind. I don't want to believe in those memories, because when I believe into those memories, into that creative process that I can visualize, that I can see in my mind, it's got to be positive for me, so I can believe in that and I can feel what that feels like. And that's what promotes that positive, high frequency energy. So right now, just thinking about achieving the 100 pull-ups, I know what that feels like because I've been there before many times, and I'm feeling that sensation now. So it keeps me on a positive frequency. Thoughts will come in and out as I go throughout the process, particularly as I'm going through the 500 pull-ups. Large number, long period of time. But what I'll do is, the visualization technique is a good way to get myself out of my head, so I can focus on that positivity, particularly when it starts to get a lot more challenging as the pull-ups continue. Okay, I'm going to get to it. Let me tell you something now. There is nothing negative about focusing on that thing that you want to achieve. Visualizing what that looks like, manifesting what that feels like, that creates positive psychology. So thinking about that, seeing those images in your mind's eye, imagining what it feels like. So for me right now, it's getting to that block 1, finishing the 100 pull-ups, which I've just achieved. And I'm there. So everything that I thought it would and could be is right there, and it feels amazing. So now I celebrate that. I sink into gratitude. I'm grateful to be at this point, at this moment right now. Then I remind myself I've got 400 pull-ups remaining. But then I change it. I've got 1 pull-up 400 times. I'm going to focus on 1 pull-up at a time. But I'm going to celebrate the next milestone at block 2. So that will be 200 pull-ups completion. Between now and getting to the 200 pull-ups, it's focusing on the breath, focusing on the breathing, keeping composed, precision techniques, hand placement, hip tilt, breath work, foot placement, making sure that I'm holding the chain and the additional weight exactly where I need it to be. Focusing in that moment. So the most challenging point, or the most vulnerable point for me in pull-ups, without a shadow of a doubt, is the dead hang. So it's at this neutral point right now. So I'm literally hanging from the bar, arms fully extended. The ligaments and tendons are really feeling that. The muscles are elongated, and gravity is just literally pulling me down, or trying to pull me down. This point here, that is the most vulnerable point in the pull-up. So I train that movement, and I explain. If you think about it now, when you're doing the pull-up, when I'm on the bar and I'm going to that pull motion, I fully extend, so my arms are fully extended, and I get to that vulnerable point, and then I want to then pull. I want to pull myself back up. But pulling from that point is extremely challenging. It is difficult to do it from that point. So in order to strengthen the most vulnerable or challenging point, I regularly practice dead hangs. So literally just, I'm in the pull-up position now, but I'm just hanging from the pull-up bar like this. And you can add weights. You can make it more challenging by adding weights and just hanging there and knowing what that feels like. And by doing that, it's encouraging the ligaments and the tendons to feel what it feels like to be at that point. So they're going to want to strengthen, because that's my
That's my trajectory point. That's the bit where I pull from. So the bits where I don't pull from are, for example, I don't come down to the pull-ups halfway, as you know, some people do, and then pull again halfway, then pull. I fully extend, so get to that point. So I'm literally using all of my ligaments, tendons, and muscles required to get that full pull in there. I didn't do that in the beginning. Many years ago, that's not how I started out. My focus at the time was probably ego driven, and it's probably how many pull-ups can I do in a row? Can I do them faster than that person over there? That type of stuff. So I wasn't necessarily focused on the precision techniques and understanding, know what it feels like to execute and perform that precision technique, that strip pull-up, if you will. That's come through a desire to want to continuously improve my performance over time. But yeah, that is the most challenging point for me. It's getting in that position right there, and it's going into the pull-up and then down and into the pull and then down and into the pull and down into the pull and then down into the pull. So when I get to that down point and I pull from that point, I feel alive at that bit, because I know I've just hit my most vulnerable, my most challenging point, and then I want to get my beard to the bar or above the bar, and that's a victory moment for me. And I celebrate that mini win, that microsecond win in my head, and that's the one pull up, that's the focus. Okay, I've got 250 more pull-ups left to go. Let's get to it. Okay, that is the 500 pull-ups complete. Clean all the way through. 5 reps max to the set, which is what I want. That is amazing. So I'm very grateful to be at that point. It'll be interesting to see how the data progresses, how my performance progresses throughout the week. So when I'm training tomorrow, whether I'll still be able to maintain that 5 reps max. Listen, we'll see. So now I'm going to go into some body weight dips, rings dips. Let's get them set up. Okay, here's the setup. So here are the rings. So these are my own rings. You might have seen these in other videos. These are the rings that they use in the CrossFit Games. So I like the wood. They do come in cast iron, I believe, like powder coated cast iron, but you can't beat the wood. Nice and traditional. And these are amazing. So these are the carabiners that they come with, the clips that they come with, and it just makes them so super easy to just maneuver them around, because I don't know whether you can see on here because of the light, but essentially what they've got is they're spaced out like this. Let me try and show you. Hang on. So they've got the sewn in certain parts, and what it allows you to do is clip precisely where you need to clip to, so that both rings are precision aligned. You can probably see, there's the thread there, there's a thread there. Now the difference between these and the ones that you might have seen with the claw grip, where you just roll them up and down, the claw grip, is the only major difference I would say is this: when you're using the carabiner, however you want to pronounce it, the clip here is there's no way that's gonna fall down or break or anything like that. There's going to be no risk of that, so it removes that risk. Plus also it's easier and quicker to align. Listen, I have not done rings dips in a long time, so I'm about to get to it, but I'm also going to put on these sleeves. Do you remember these? So I put on these sleeves to stop the abrasion that I'll get on the forearms. Less talk, more dips. Let's go. Okay, I have missed the gymnastic rings dips. Let me tell you, it has been a good while since I've used these. So I've just done 5 reps now, nice and clean, nice and slow, body weight. I've not added any additional weight. So feet together, and I've leaned into it. I've crunched in, so slight hip tilt coming forward. And if you imagine now, my body would be like that, and then my feet would be slightly angled like that. So I would look a little bit like a banana, I suppose. Niche example, but I want to engage the core. Very, very important. Keep those feet together. They're part of the precision techniques. I miss this exercise so much. This is how I'm going to explain it. So somebody in here today asked me, what is the major difference between gymnastic rings dips and solid bar dips? And this is what I would say. This is what I explained. Imagine that you're given a scenario. So one person is given a scenario to jump as high as they can do on a surfboard in the sea or on solid ground. What would they choose? To jump as high as they can on solid ground, or to jump as high as they can on a surfboard in the sea? Now listen, if you're going to say surfboard in the sea, it's going to be a lot more challenging. It's going to take a lot more practice than jumping as high as you can do on solid ground, because the ground is not moving, so you don't have to worry about that. You just have to think about you moving and getting that trajectory off the ground to lift up. But when you're on the surfboard and it's in the sea, there's movement going on. There's moving up and down, left and right. It's you've got that instability. It's kind of like what the gymnastic rings are. Even though they are attached to the bar above me, they've got that range of motion. So it's like, which way they're going to go? Well, they're going to adapt to how my body moves. So the slightest movement will definitely amplify through to which way, the rings move. So I'd say there's more things to focus on. Is it more challenging? Yes, it is more challenging. I'd say doing gymnastic rings, dips is progressive, without a shadow of a doubt, progressive. And I find that I can stay in bodyweight rings dips for a longer period of time just by changing how I move the rings around versus being on a solid bar and doing bodyweight rings dips. But of course you can add weight, so there's lots of different things. And listen, just to be clear, I love bar dips, solid bar dips. I love them. And I love gymnastic rings dips. So yeah, it's right. So I'm just stepping off now. Okay, I'm coming down here. And I just get to that bit where the lower part of the ring meets my armpit, because I like to get that full stretch. So it's nice and slow, that slow range of motion. And I realise right now, you can probably just see my head bobbing up and down. Feels good. It's important to keep that core engaged, focus on the breath work. It's the same principles as doing the pull-ups for me. So it's hand placement, hip tilt, breath work, foot placement. There are so many different component parts that are going into this movement. I'm happy to introduce it. See how we get on. Okay, that is today's training session done. Okay, I feel absolutely amazing now. Listen, I'm very interested in your comments and things that you would like me to talk about in my videos, 100%. So if there's anything that you would like to know about, I don't know, drop it in the comment section. There's a strong chance that I might answer it whilst doing the pull-ups and tagging your YouTube channel. But if you do put a comment in there, it'd be amazing if you are on YouTube that you can follow and subscribe. Then I know who is commenting. Great session today. I realise that there's quite a bit of work there to do with the rings dips, but I'm just introducing that. The challenge is still the 10,000 pull-ups with the 2.5 kg weight in January, and I'm going to think about different ways that I can
that I can show you my progress on the journey, physically, should we say. So let me have some thinking time over that, but I'll always share the mindset side of it. So you will always get that deep share of knowledge and experience. But listen, whatever you're doing, have an absolutely incredible day. I'll see you soon. Take care.